All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business today and see, if these two Google searches, local search and city search, have BSS, yes or no. So we're here in the GBC universe, taking declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And, more about that, pinned post, pinned video, home video, whatever. And that's because the FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. Those that are rising are doing a good job bringing in people from the entire intent ladder here, from the left high intent all the way to the right, the lowest intent peeps, or at least generating awareness. And the ones that are falling are, you know, missing some chunks of intent, some intent chunk somewhere, causing them to fall. So here we're focusing on BSS. We're way over on the left, the basically the intent ladder. The highest intent people list people searching social search on all the social networks or on Google for, boudoir photo shoot in their city. That's what we focus on here. Then way at the end, focus on BLCS, boudoir low click syndrome. That's the other brand, boudoir FB ad doctor, on our other profiles, where right now we're only working with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. But those are the lowest intent people, but that's the largest group in every city, the people that are not searching for boudoir photo shoot right now. So we're only talking about the two kind of extremes at the moment. All right, so BSS, boudoir search sameness. As when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0, 1 slots on page 1 of Google. If we got 0 slots, we're dead. That's because we know approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They're page 1 only searches, which means this is who we care about. This is the bulk of the market, approximately 80% of the market. And we're invisible to them if we're not on page 1. So 0 slots, we're dead. 1 slot, we're also basically dead because we're looking the same as every other boudoir photographer who also has 1 slot. And then, there's 10 slots Google page 1 organic. So, if everyone's a boudoir photographer, they all got 1 slot, then basically the buyer's just going to click down through, open everyone's link, everyone's website on page 1, because we assume they won't go to page 2. And, contact everyone, price quote everyone, price shop everyone, whatever. And so 1 slot's not good either. We want to actually, our goal is to hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10, because we'll actually be kicking off our competitors off page 1 a large amount, and we'll actually be standing out, most likely being the only one with 3 out of 10 links there. Now, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Extremely common, but not normal, is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are, one, basically everyone knows about, market saturation, and one basically nobody knows about, the false belief of page 1 equality. So first we'll hit market saturation. It seems to happen kind of every week. Someone gets a new iPhone, start up their Google My Business profile, throw up their website saying they now offer boudoir photo shoots, saturating the market, more sellers for the same number of buyers. Or someone gets a new camera, then they start posting them on Facebook groups saying that they offer boudoir photo shoots now. So market saturation means more sellers to the same number of buyers, making it harder for every current boudoir photographer that is a seller. Now, this next one is massive, the false belief of page 1 equality. So this is, from what I've seen, the number 1 killer of boudoir photography businesses, because this is assuming, so the belief of page 1 equality is, which I'll show as a false belief, is we're falsely believing that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google search. And so, if you got 1 slot on page 1, cool. If the market gets saturated, you get pushed down. Now you're on page 2. Oh, that's fine. Everyone gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. That's simply how it is. This is a false belief. It's false because Google will actually give as many page 1 links as to the person who puts in the effort to acquire them. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 page 1 links to 9 out of 10 page 1 links. Literally, I own 90% of the organic search surface in 10 days Why? Because I wanted those slots and I went and took them. I put in the effort to take them. Google gives the slots to those who puts in the effort to take them. We'll see that in like 3 or 4 pictures from now, or maybe, yeah, somewhere around that number. So it's a false belief, which makes people do nothing. If they believe this, that everyone's entitled to 0, 1 slot, every boudoir photographer is entitled to 0, 1 page slots, page 1 slots on Google, they'll do nothing. They'll be like, oh, this is reality operating normally. Yeah, I was there, I got kicked off. Hopefully someone shuts down their website, so maybe Google will bring me back on. No, incorrect. Google wants to give these slots to those who want to put in the effort to take them. And because people go on page 2, they disappear, and eventually their business disappears too. Because again, if you're on page 2 or later, you're invisible to approximately 80% of the Google searchers. So the bulk of the market. We also know that a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So we got our building up our universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So, and disappearing boudoir photographer, this is the canary in the coal mine for eventually a disappearing boudoir photography business, is if we got 0, 1 slots on page 1, eventually we'll be kicked off to page 2, and then it's all downhill from there. So it's a solution. We got the solution here. BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka our S-cubed methodology. And we know this because we invented it. That's what we've been using. So this is exactly what I used to go from 0 out of 10 slots to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in 10 days. And it works with saturating social search, the high intent keywords, saturating those. So people search on social, they find us, the bulk, hopefully all, we're like the only ones showing up. And as a result, that flows through to Google page 1 search. Dominating Google page 1 search is the outcome, the outflow of dominating or saturating social search. So it all flows, saturating social search is like the river at the top of the mountain, the glacier at the top of the mountain that's melting, and the river at the bottom, the Amazon River, is all that work saturating page 1 on Google. And I know this because I've done it. Now, once true with the S-cubed methodology, we have page 1 visibility. Nice. We're no longer at 0, 1 slots on page 1. We do want to hit the GBC minimum, though, with 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And that's because if we got 3 out of 10 slots on page 1, we're definitely crushing the people that got 0 slots. We're definitely crushing the people that only got 1 slot, because they look like nothing compared to us. And it's very rare someone actually has 2 slots. But even in that case, we are looking greater than them because they only got 2 slots. We got 3. People subconsciously wonder, why is this photographer why does Google keep pushing them? They must be good and give them so many slots on page 1. The extra bonus of using the S-cubed methodology is it kicks competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. Is the same for social search, but kind of what we're talking about on Google. It's only 10 organic slots page 1. Kicks them off, and as a result, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They're page 1 only searches. So approximately 80%, the bulk of the market's never going to see those competitors if they go to page 2, which means we're not being price shopped against them. We're not being, price shopped, price compared, getting quotes from everyone. I mean, if we can get 5 links or getting page 1 on Google, that means only 5 links left for other competitors, and we've kicked off 4 other competitors back onto page 2. Instead of 9 competitors, we're competing against only 5 other peeps. Get smaller the more we dominate page 1. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. Okay, people can actually see us, because hopefully we've hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer. So it's the goal, it's kind of the minimum, hitting 3 out of 10 links on page 1 to become visible, or confidently visible. And we care about the 3 out of 10 number because if we hit 3 out of 10, we're probably, treading water. Probably not disappearing, we're at minimum treading water, and also could possibly be most likely growing. Because remember, this is the result, the outflow of dominating social search. So anytime anyone's, if we're, multiple slots page one on Google, we already got way more than that. Multiple slots page one, many more on these social networks. People search these highest intent keywords. So Google is kind of a, kind of a less than filter. So this is our universe here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. It's fine, we got the solution now. Utilize S-cube methodology. Achieve page one visibility. Become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. So now my own results using this. You can see I wanted to rank for this term BLCS boudoir. So we'll go down to the organic slots. So organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Organic slot 2, me. Organic slot 3, me. Organic slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. Dude, I did this in 10 days. Got 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google. So I know for a fact S-cubed methodology got results for me. And I achieved this by social search saturation, S-cubed methodology. All right, so now we're here, the main event. You're going to see that this boudoir photography business has BSS for their local search. Going to see if they have it for their city search. All right, so here we go. Boudoir photographer, Roseville, California. So let's see what we got here. All right, we got one. Let's see. All right, we got 2. All right, so we got 2 out of 10, so we do not have BSS for the local search, but we did not hit the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. So now let's look at the full city search. Sacramento. So let's see here. Let's see, we got nope, 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 nope. Nope. All right, so it looks like we got 0 out of 10 here for SAC. All right, so we're missing a bunch of Sacramento peeps. All right, so final verdict, we got, well, we do not have BSS for Roseville, the local search, but we did not meet the GBC minimum, recommended minimum of 3 out of 10. And for the city search, yeah, we got BSS. We're at 0 out of 10 there. And we're actually, we also did not meet the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 organic page 1 Google slots. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, you went and did the local search for yourself and the city, or local search for the highest intent buyer keywords and the city search for the highest intent buyer keywords, and you had BSS for one or both, or you did not meet the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 for either one or both of those searches. And you now realize page 1 equality was kind of automatically accepted before, but now you realize it's a false belief. Now you realize, wow, we truly can take as many page 1 slots on Google as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And you understand market saturation with how, basically people get new iPhones, throw up their Google My Business profile and their website, and they shoot boudoir. So get new gear, increase the number of boudoir photographers over time. It's always increasing, and you're actually thinking ahead. You're seeing AI. You accept it's okay. It's probably going to start steal more people's jobs. So what we're actually going to need to do is it's going to force a bunch of boudoir photographers to come into the marketplace that were not boudoir photographers before, but they have, everyone's got a camera on their phone. And so you want to fortify your position ahead of AI taking everyone's jobs, and I don't know, could that double the amount of boudoir photographers in the market? No idea. But you want to fortify your position before then. You kind of want to get more slots on page one before that happens to kick out current competitors, and get even more slots on page one to fortify your position against the coming influx of new boudoir photographers that will inevitably be coming into the marketplace. So more sellers for the same number of buyers as AI takes more and more people's jobs. And so you want to fortify you want to kick out the current competitors, fortify your position against future competitors. And you also want the your CNS cubed methodology is the only solution that you can see that allows you to do that as a boudoir photographer. And you actually want kind of the extra back-end benefits from this as well, which is every day we execute S-cubed methodology successfully. We're actually building like these thematic keyword columns that are plugged, kind of like spokes, that are plugged into our main brand across our social channels, across the internet, our website, our brand name, our social handle name. And as we do more and more of that every day, it actually increases the probability we get recommended an AI overview, this premium spot placement up at the top above everything. And many times, it's literally recommending one studio at a time, based off of thematic keyword relevance, authority, things like that, and frequency. And also every day we execute methodology correctly. So it's building up that momentum in the background for AI overview and also standard AI search and all the different AI search platforms. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Every day we successfully execute SQL methodology, build up those thematic keyword columns attached to our brand, kind of like spokes on a wheel. We're increasing the probability AI recommends us in search into the future. Kind of increasing that probability every single day we successfully execute. And you also see that kind of the earlier you jump on this, the more distance you put, kind of the more momentum is built, kind of more fortification, kind of fortifying the levees like New Orleans against the ocean because it's below sea level, and building momentum for back-end AI search, AI overview recommendations forever into the future. Well, for every day that S-cubed methodology is successfully executed against all current and future competitors who are not running S-cubed methodology. Because my current plan is to only run it with one boudoir photographer per city. And so if I were to work with a competitor and that happened, instead you would have to rederive and refigure out and retest S-cubed methodology to figure it out for yourself. And you would never really know if you actually derived it correctly. But even so, you'd have to then go execute it on your own, which you'd have less confidence in, because again, you would not have known if you've actually derived it correctly. And you'd have to equal our output of me working with your competitor to maintain our gap where we're already ahead. You'd have to actually double or triple our output to actually close the gap and overtake us, kind of suck away that thematic keyword kind of momentum, back into momentum for AI search engines to steal it away from us. So you realize, screw that. It's better to simply be, the first mover on this, kind of kick out current competitors from page one, actually increase, fortify your position against future competitors as AI takes people's jobs, force them to become boudoir photographers. And so you're saying SQ methodology is the best path for you because you want, page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, achieve boudoir search visibility, because you need that on your way to become number one boudoir photographer in your city. So if that's you, shoot me a DM when I open up for new patient intake. My DMs are closed right now. Slots are currently closed. And when you do open up, or when I do open it up, shoot me a DM and we will see if you qualify for using S-cubed methodology.